and welcome back to our show, to our new episode. I'm so glad that you're here. And whether you're tuning in from your home or maybe on the go, or this is just, a moment to take to yourself, I'm so honored that you are here with me today. Now, before we get into today's topic, which is going to be really amazing for you, let's kind of get settled within our space. So if you want, I invite you just to take a deep breath right now with me. Inhale in, and exhale out. One more time. And out. And you could wiggle around a little bit just to let go of the energy. So today we're going to talk about something that is inevitable in all of our lives, and that is change, big or small. Change can feel overwhelming, it has uncertainty, and even unsettling for you, right? But it's also one of the most transformative aspects of our life. So what if, instead of fighting change, you learn how to embrace it with grace and even strength? What if you could navigate life's transitions with confidence and a sense of purpose? How does that make you feel? Because that's exactly what I want to explore with you today. So if you want, you can go grab a cup of tea, a notebook, and pause this. And then when you come back, we're going to start with the process, because this is going to be a moment for yourself to dive into learning more. Okay? So understanding change and its impact and how this actually works. Now, let's start by acknowledging something that is super important, because change is hard. That's actually like one story, because you could change that, but that'll be another show. Whether it's starting, a new job, or moving to a new city or country, or even a personal shift that you might have. So like going through a breakup or becoming a parent. Change can throw us off balance, but it doesn't have to be that way, because change doesn't have to knock you down. It doesn't have to do that. In fact, change, when it's approached with the right mindset, can be a source of growth, a source of transformation, and as well as resilience. And it's all about how we choose to navigate it, how we choose to go about that story, right? So here's the truth about it. Life is never static. We are always in a state of evolution, okay? So the key is to lean into change with an open heart and with the willingness to actually adapt to it. So move with it, dance with it. The more that we resist the change, the harder it becomes. But when we welcome it with grace and with strength, something incredible happens. And we grow into a better version of ourselves. Now, the feelings that we have with it might be a little bit tense with the resistance, but there's another lesson that I did on that, and you could watch that or listen to it within the shows. But I want to share a story with you. I remember when I went through one of the biggest transitions of my life. And it was just a few years ago into my pediatric sleep consulting practice. And I had a lot of clients at that time, but I was also starting to feel the weight of burnout. And I was juggling work, family life, and even my own personal growth. But I was constantly feeling overwhelmed on everything. There was this feeling of, I have to keep going. I can't stop. Until one day, I realized that I needed to make a change. And that was really hard, because I decided to step back. And take a deep breath and redefine how I worked, how I did everything. It was scary at first, right? Because you're used to these patterns. And I had to shift my mindset from being in a constant state of doing, only I can do this, to being in a state of trust and even surrender. And for some of us, that word really freaks us out. But I remember telling myself, change is coming and it's time to welcome it. So I started by setting new boundaries, standards that I had for myself, and really focusing on my own well being. And for us moms, that can be hard, right? Because we're always giving, giving, giving. But I knew I had to embrace the shift and grace and also the strength with it, or I'd burn out completely and nothing good will ever come out of that. And I had to learn that it was okay to pause and not have everything figured out. I can ask for help. And one of the other things that I wanted to talk to you about is how to embrace change with the grace and the strength. Okay, so how do we actually embrace change when it feels overwhelming? So we're going to go through a couple of steps that helped me, and I believe that they will help you too. So if you want, you can write them down on a sheet of paper. You can pause this and then get back to it. But the first thing is acknowledging the emotions, being aware of what's going on, because change brings up a lot of emotions, triggers your belief systems, fear, uncertainty, even excitement for some people, or even sadness, okay? And that is okay. It's important to acknowledge those feelings, not to shove them down, because instead of pushing them aside, what I used to think is I had to suppress my emotions to be strong, right? Some of us are taught that if you cry or if you show that you can't handle this, you're weak. But I learned that allowing myself to feel helps me move through the process with grace, and not just allowing myself to feel, but also expressing that as well. So sit with your feelings. Yes, it could be hard at times, but the processing them and then allowing yourself to move forward is key. So the second thing is focus on what you can control, because in times of change, there's so much that is out of our control. And that's the hardest part, right? But here's the key. Focus on what you can control. Okay, I know I said that twice. I'll say it again. Focus on what you can control. When I went through my transition, I couldn't control how much work I had or when everything would fall into place. But I could control how I showed up each day, how I showed up with my family. I focused on really small, tangible, manageable tasks that brought me a sense of accomplishment and really helped me to stay grounded and present in the moment. And that is really important, because when we are in panic mode, we are thinking either in the past or the future. You always want to be in the present. The third is trust the process. When life feels like it's moving way too fast or you're unsure of where you're headed, trust that you are exactly where you need to be. And I know that it's not always easy. It's not always easy to trust the unknown, right? Because certainty is one of the 6 human needs. But let me tell you something. When you trust the process, that you know that everything is going to work out, your ability to then adapt, it becomes much easier to navigate change with the strength that we talked about. So the fourth piece is lean into your support system. Change doesn't have to be done alone. And in fact, it's important to lean into your support system during times of that transition period for you. So whether it's friends, family, or a coach, don't be afraid to ask for help. I've had to lean on my friends, my mentors, my family during really tough transitions that I had, especially almost 12 years ago. And it's made all the difference. You're not meant to do this alone. None of us are. It's okay to ask for help. The fifth piece is take small steps forward. Embracing change doesn't require massive leaps. It's the small, consistent actions that make the biggest impact. So start with one small change at a time, just something small that you can do. Maybe it's a new routine or a new habit that you want to change, or shift in your perspective, like your mindset on something. because these small steps will compound over time and really bring you closer to the new life that you want to create. Yes, small things will get you to that goal, and it's okay if you pause at points. The sixth piece is celebrate your wins. As you make progress through your transitional period, take time to celebrate the wins. Don't wait until the end to celebrate or whatever it is. Do it with each small step that you're implementing, because every step forward is worth the acknowledgement. Whether it's a successful week of maybe setting boundaries for yourself or helping you that will things that will help you feel more grounded, or just taking the time to breathe, like what we just did earlier, and to help you be present. Those are wins. So acknowledge that. Now, we went through all that. I want to go into some practical tools to help you navigate change, okay? Now, let me offer you a few of them because you can use them to help you navigate the change aspect with the grace and the strength that we were talking about before. So the first thing that you can do is you could journal if you like to write. So when I was going through my transitional period, I turned into journaling to really process my emotions, but I also am a talker. So I would just talk out loud. But in this context, journaling at some points, it helped me clear my mind, release the stress that I was having, and gain more clarity on my next steps. It really is a powerful tool for self-reflection and for growth. But if you are a talker also, like I am at points, that definitely helps a lot too, just to talk it out. The other thing is mindful breathing, because when change feels overwhelming, we want to take a moment to pause and to breathe. Focus on our breath for just a few minutes and notice that it's going to be amazing on how powerful that this small, simple practice is that can really bring you back to your home, to you, to be in the present moment. Okay? Because when we're nervous, we breathe really quickly, and that doesn't help anything. The other aspect is affirmations, so positive affirmations, which will help you shift your mindset from moments of doubt. So saying something like, I trust myself to navigate this change with grace, or I'm capable of handling whatever comes my way. Okay? If you've been thinking or saying something differently, it's time to shift that story. So these affirmations will help you. Visualizations, like closing your eyes and imagining the life that you want on the other side. Once you are done with the transition, that helps a lot too. I'm a very visual person, but in that you would also include feeling the emotions, or that you would achieve once you're already through this transitional period. So when we're visualizing, we also want to connect with the emotions. Now, embracing change isn't easy, but it's possible. And the more that we welcome the change, the more we allow ourselves to grow, to evolve, and to step into the version of ourselves that we're really meant to be. So change, again, doesn't have to feel like a burden. It can be the doorway to a life filled with new opportunities for you. It's a life of resilience and strength and beauty and grace. You got this. You're capable. And no matter what transition that you're navigating right now in your life, know that you are not alone. You can move through it with grace, with strength, and the trust within yourself. So if today's episode resonated with you, I'd love if you can share it with someone that you know that needs to hear this. I'm Carolina with Well Rooted Living, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.